Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Josh, and this is your stimulus check update for the next stimulus package for Friday, October 16th. I hope everyone is off to a good and safe start to their Friday so far, and that you all have a wonderful weekend ahead. In this video, I'll be discussing updates in regards to the next relief package and the second stimulus check. I'll also be discussing unemployment, the recent remarks between Nancy Pelosi, Stephen Mnuchin, Donald Trump, and Mitch McConnell as far as the next relief package goes, and then I'll be wrapping up this video by answering some of the comments and questions that I received in my previous video. But first, if you wouldn't mind real quickly liking this video, give me a big thumbs up. It really just helps with the YouTube algorithm in terms of pushing this video out to other viewers like you, and hopefully helping other people like you as well. Okay, so despite opposition from other members of the Republican Party, President Trump continues to push for bigger stimulus numbers. During an interview on Fox, Trump stated that he would absolutely go higher than $2.2 trillion. He said, "Go big or go home." Trump then went on to say that Nancy Pelosi doesn't want to give anything. She thinks it helps her with the election, and I don't think so. I think it hurts her with the election because everyone knows she's holding it up. We're not holding it up. She's holding it up. Then, in a surprising twist that's sure to raise eyebrows at the White House, the president then took a swipe at Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin, saying that, so far, he hasn't come home with the bacon. Weird, because presumably, since it would be Mnuchin negotiating on Trump's behalf, you would think that he would be going with the bigger numbers that Trump wants. Instead, his top line number has only been around $1.8 trillion. In the interview, Trump even said that he's authorized Stephen Mnuchin to offer more than $1.8 trillion in the negotiations with Nancy Pelosi. So who really knows what's going on there, and why Mnuchin isn't coming in with much larger numbers if Trump insists that they should be. One other thing that Donald Trump insisted on was that China would be the one paying for this next relief package because they're the ones that caused it. Then, when asked why he doesn't just go with Speaker Pelosi's $2.2 trillion offer, he said because she's asking for all sorts of goodies, insinuating that she wants to bail out poorly run Democrat states and cities. He said she wants money for things that your pride would never let happen. So it sounds like Trump is willing to go just as high as Nancy Pelosi is willing to go, but he just doesn't want to spend the money the same way as she does, which is for state and local governments. In some good news, Stephen Mnuchin did note that he would tell Speaker Pelosi that we're not going to let the testing issue stand in the way of reaching a deal. Mnuchin said that they would fundamentally agree with the testing language, subject to some minor issues, and that the whole thing is being overblown. So it sounds like they may be able to reach an agreement on the testing, but will they also be able to reach an agreement on the state and local government as well? Time will only tell, but it'll come down to whether Nancy Pelosi is willing to compromise and lower her number for state and local governments. And as of late, she's been pretty testy about it. After taking criticism from those in the Democratic Party, such as Ro Khanna and Andrew Yang, she's dismissed them by saying they haven't been in the room during these negotiations. She told Wolf Blitzer of CNN that he didn't know what he was talking about. Frankly, she doesn't really seem to care about anyone's opinion other than her own. Americans are suffering, and you have a $1.8 trillion proposal in front of you, and you reject it? Come on now. You're better than that. Other than the negotiations going on between the Treasury Secretary and the House Speaker, we also have Mitch McConnell planning to roll out his new plan on the Senate floor next week. Now, McConnell did say that he's discussing the next bill with Stephen Mnuchin about the higher amount, but that's not what he plans to put on the floor. Instead, he indicated that his bill would be a more targeted one, which will be identical to the one he tried to advance last month, which was blocked by the Democrats. The Senate Majority Leader said prior that the $500 billion package he plans to release will provide money for the Paycheck Protection Program, hospitals, and schools. He also mentioned that the federal unemployment benefits would be extended, making many of us wonder if there would be any money left over for stimulus checks. Well, it seems that there will be, as he did make mention that there would be another round of tax rebates included in the new proposal. However, he said these checks would be only for those hit the hardest, although he didn't specifically mention an income threshold. This, of course, makes us wonder if he'll lower the amount the checks will be for and what the income threshold will be. My personal speculation is that he could be cutting the income threshold in half from $75,000 for single filers all the way down to $40,000. In the end though, more than likely, just like the last bill, this one will be blocked by the Democrats as well. Now, one interesting thing that I do have to note is that a Senate GOP strategist privately confided to Bloomberg recently that a key Republican goal right now is to lay the groundwork to revert hard to austerity should Biden prevail, crippling the possibility of any stimulus efforts next year, even amid continued economic misery. He continued that it accords with what all our intuitions and our understanding of recent US political history tell us. Republicans almost certainly suspect Trump will lose big, even with a big stimulus, and already hope to put an incoming President Joe Biden in a fiscal straitjacket, saddling him with the terrible politics of a grueling recovery. So, all in all, this is why it's super important that a deal gets done before Election Day. If Joe Biden wins, we'll see even less of a chance for a deal to get done between the Trump administration and Nancy Pelosi. All motivation will go out the door for Trump to go big, and then it may be up for Nancy Pelosi to come all the way down to what Mitch McConnell and other Senate Republicans are asking for at around the $500 billion mark. So if you're Nancy Pelosi here and you want a big stimulus, you better take the $1.8 trillion offer on the table now. On the other hand, if Trump wins the election, we'll just have to wait and see if Nancy Pelosi sees her leverage dissipate. One thing that I do know for certain right now is that American families are struggling. Young, innocent children are hungry, and if only Nancy Pelosi would just agree with a really solid all-around stimulus deal of $1.8 trillion, this could all come to an end. I get that Pelosi wants to be a fighter for the American people until the very end, but if you're going to let American families suffer over not getting everything you want, then you shouldn't be in your position of power. Americans elect politicians into power to be able to compromise with the other side, even if they don't get everything that they want. This sometimes means you'll have to give in to what the other side wants, so you can provide enhanced unemployment benefits to those who lost their job because the government forcibly shut everything down. So you can provide stimulus checks for those in need. That's exactly what compromise is, and Nancy Pelosi hasn't been very good at it. It's pretty unbelievable. In unemployment-related news, we are still waiting on 4 states to begin sending out benefits from the Lost Wages Assistance Program. These states include Alaska, Nevada, New Jersey, and Wisconsin. If you live in Virginia, you should have received your first payment yesterday. However, I saw in the comment section yesterday that no one ended up receiving their payments. So if you do happen to live in the state of Virginia, let me know in the comment section below if you ever ended up receiving them. If you live in New Jersey, you should expect to receive your payments in one lump sum payment on the week of October 19th. As far as residents in Nevada and Wisconsin go, you should expect to receive your payments on October 31st, and we're still waiting on an estimated payment date from the state of Alaska. Let's hope that it doesn't take too much longer for the residents in Alaska to begin receiving their payments. And now, since most states have already completely depleted their funds from FEMA, we can only hope that Congress can finally get around to passing another relief package to extend these benefits on a longer term, more stable basis. Okay, so at this point in time, I'm going to move right along to answering some of the comments and questions that I received in my previous video. And if you do happen to have any other comments or questions for me, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I do try to answer as many of the comments and questions as I possibly can, but for those comments and questions I'm not able to respond to, I do try to pick some of the more popular ones to answer in the next video in video form. Okay, so without further ado, let me go ahead and jump into the first comment of today's video, which is from Tim. Tim says, "Hi Josh, I still haven't gotten my first stimulus check. How many people are out there like me who are still waiting?" Okay, thank you so much for your question, Tim, and I'm so sorry that you still haven't received your first stimulus check yet. I can definitely understand your frustration. Now, if you haven't filled out a tax return within the last 2 years, or you started receiving Social Security benefits this year, then you'll need to fill out the non-filers tool by November 21st in order to receive your payment this year. Otherwise, no action will be required on your part in order to receive your payment. Not to worry though, there are still millions of people who are still waiting, so you're definitely not alone here. In the meantime, I would also make sure that no one claim you as a dependent on one of their recent tax returns, because unfortunately that would make you ineligible to receive your payment. I would also just continue to check the payment portal, as it will be your #1 resource to see exactly when you should receive your payment. Okay, moving right along to the last question of today's video, which is from Dale. Dale says, "Hey Josh, good day to you. Thanks for the update. I have a question on the first stimulus. When it was passed, the bill said anyone on Social Security qualifies, but sadly that was not true because I didn't receive mine. My question is, will I receive it this time around?" Alright, thank you so much for your question, Dale, and I appreciate you tuning into these videos, and thank you for all of your kind words. First off, you are definitely correct that people on Social Security are eligible for these checks, And you should have also received the first one as long as you weren't claimed as a dependent on anyone's tax returns. If you weren't claimed as a dependent and you started receiving benefits before this year, then I would just continue to check the payment portal. Also, if a second stimulus check does pass, you should be eligible for that one as well, even if you are being claimed as a dependent. Alright, so on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. If you did enjoy the content in this video and you'd like to see more videos like it, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. It is completely free to do so and it's a great support to me. Also, if you'd like to receive 2 free stocks from Webull, both stocks valued all the way up to $1,600, please feel free to claim those 2 free stocks by clicking the link in the description box below. And until next time, I'll see you guys and I hope you have a great day today.